draft per set.
Yep. So the draft is beginning here, and no surprise to Arcane immediately taking out Temple of Anubis. Even with the new map system, not only did we not see any capture point maps all day in the best of 3 sets, we also didn't even see it in the best of 5, where you'd figure it'd be more likely. Both teams combined to remove every single capture point and King of the Hill map. No guarantee that'll be the case today, but definitely teams sort of showing a preference in what maps they do not want to play.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise though. Project X goes ahead right away and bans out Dorado, and Arcane follows that up by banning out Nepal. Generally, we've seen all of the control point maps banned out first, but Project X kind of taking a different path. Not only did they ban out Dorado, they banned out Gibraltar with their next pick. Arcane follows up by finishing out the King of the Hills and banning out Lijiang.
Yeah, Lijiang getting taken out. I mean, even when people play King of the Hill, Lijiang is not a map that teams are very, very eager to play. It is a little bit cute when you play it in pubs. You have the ability to get knocked off the ledge and all the rest, but in competition, people don't like it. And yeah, we have Hanamura in the map pool now.
Yeah, Hanamura is definitely going to be in the map pool. The last 3 maps standing are the ones that we are going to play. Now we're just banning out to see which map we're going to first, but we're going to Hanamura today. We're starting with King's Row. We might not go to Hanamura unless we get a game 3, but it's going to be Hanamura, Numbani, and King's Row. We are headed to King's Row first.
Yeah, King's Row, this has been... I'd say King's Row and Numbani have been the 2 staple maps of the last week or so, where you get to see them in almost every best of 3. Teams very, very comfortable with them on the whole.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I just expected at this point that if we're going to start Overwatch, an Overwatch tournament, we're going to start on King's Row. It's, get us into the action. But King's Row has been kind of evolving. It's very strange that teams are either very much holding first or it's a bloodbath all the way throughout the map.
Yeah, and we saw, of course, teams... one variance that we see is that some teams are really, really good at defending the second stage of King's Row, whereas other teams just almost give it up for free. It's a map that has some degree of variety, where teams, some teams are good at point A, some teams get rolled on point A. You're seeing some degree of differences come up in regards to where teams are good defending and where they're just not so good.
Yeah, are we heading over to Europe? No one gave me the memo. I think we're going to Europe.
Oh, we are in Europe.
Okay, I'll be right there.
And we are missing you. It was like, wait a second,
I'm trying to
wait a second. We're missing one thing here, and that would be Hex.
Hey, it wouldn't be a tournament if I wasn't outside of the lobby looking in, like a puppy on a snowing Christmas looking in at a warm family enjoying their time together. That's me in Overwatch lobbies.
Yep, so it is going to be Arcane Esports on the attack first versus Project X. This is going to be King's Row. We'll see just what both teams have to show us, because we've seen good stuff out of both these teams in the past. I mean, I think Arcane might be the favorite team here, but I would not be surprised at all if Project X were to come out and take this map as well.
No, Project X, they have all the mechanical skill, and like I said, I think their former Quake pros, maybe people in chat could let us know a little more about that. I don't have a great history as far as Quake goes, but the more I play Overwatch, the more I watch Overwatch, this is going to sound like a negative, but it's not. It seems to be less and less about that physical, mechanical, muscle memory, aim, and skill. It is very much based around game sense, making the right decisions, picking the correct engagements. And of course, that aiming does matter, more so in some classes than others. But just having that actual aim, the game sense, it trumps that almost every day of the week.
Well, I would say it's really a combination of the two, right? Is that you can't simply get by on only mechanical aim, but if you take 2 teams together where one team is playing as a team and one team has incredibly strong mechanical aimers and the other team is playing as a team, but they're not so good, the team with the stronger mechanical aimers will win every single time, because there are breakpoints in Overwatch competition where McCree versus McCree, Widow versus Widow, anytime your heavily aim-based classes go against each other, that is a very, very pivotal moment, and it happens all the time. I mean, say you have, Taimu versus Sureforce, something like that. That's a very key matchup where, if Taimu wasn't quite as good at McCree as he is, he might lose that matchup more often than not. And, those sorts of things happen all the time. So and when it comes to, it's not the only thing, but it's a very, very big deal in terms of mechanical skill.
Yeah, and Chad is mentioning we are still working on microphone volume. Apparently, not only does my camera fade me out of reality, but my microphone or the sound settings fade me out of reality too, as I've been dripping or dropping out of the sound existence realm as well. They say I'm getting lower and lower. So I
haven't changed anything on my, aside from putting you higher. I mean, I'm not sure if you're moving up and away from your microphone.
No, I'm not blaming you at all. I think there's just something going on in the OBS machine settings here. I will move closer to my microphone as best I can. without just breathing heavily and constantly into it. So we're working on that. We're aware of the issues, but right now we're just bear with us and we're just going to watch some Overwatch as is.
Okay, so we are in game now, and take a look at things here. For the Project X side on defense, we got Cass on the Reaper, Pavel on Reinhardt, Rel on McCree, Cooler on Pharah, and Narkidorf on Zenyatta, and DNR Shadow on Lucio.
Yeah, and Team Arcane is going to be running offense. Now, of note here, before they really set their roles, is I think we've seen Nevix before on Sniper make some really big plays. We haven't been able to watch these teams as much as we like, obviously, because we can't watch everything, unfortunately. But I know that Nevix has had some big plays on Sniper, and we're going to see if they roll out with that here. They are running some Hanzos, though.
Yep, taking a look at things here. On the Arcane X side, we see Cass hiding in the building, a little bit unorthodox spot. Often I see Reapers a little bit further out, but every team has their own slant on defense here, and this is certainly Project X's slant on the defense. Meanwhile, on the offense, no offensive Widow. They were teasing it to begin with, and we see Arcane just sort of taking their time as they set up, but they're through the archway, and they have pretty good positioning to start things out here, Hex.
Yeah, pretty standard composition. It looks like Project X is holding pretty far back, well, further back than most teams, and this is kind of a really cool way to initiate. They go right through the edge, no one stopped them there, and now they're just going to take the high ground and maybe spam down with this Junkrat.
Yeah, the Junkrat, we've seen way more Junkrat play recently. Junkrat, of course, a really, really nice source of consistent damage. Teams have been liking it. It breaks shields. It breaks people, and with a Mercy boost on top of it, it does a lot of work. No kills just yet, though. Both teams being very defensive on their poking. Neither team drawing blood just yet, but as I said, that roster at the Fire Strike takes out DNR Shadow. That is a defensive Lucio that is down, and now Arcane Esports might have the opening they need to push in here.
I have no idea what Shadow was doing there. He was dancing about 30 feet in front of his team, doing absolutely nothing as Lucio, and you can't do that anymore. It's Lucio with 150 health, one shot, and you're out of the fight.
Taking a look at Nevix here. Nevix, again, with the damage boosted Junkrat, but Rel able to take out Vaz in that McCree battle, so a little bit of back and forth in general. And we see Project X able to push out Arcane just a bit there. Cooler and Rel with a pair of kills each. So Rel doing some very good work early on as McCree picks up another kill. And we see this so often where as a fight breaks down, the McCree really cleans up.
Yeah, McCree and his fan, the Hammer, really good at just taking down low health heroes, even high health heroes, really. But McCree needs to stay alive through those fights so he can mop up in the end. Teams that lose their damage early in fights not only will probably lose the fight, but won't be able to capitalize on kills if they somehow turn it around.
Yeah, absolutely. So taking a look at this, we do have a Junkrat tire coming out. Seen the tire do a lot of work. Cooler with a 3-kill barrage, though, as that goes on. But here's the resurrect from Lullaby. Lullaby brings up everyone killed by that barrage. Offensive sound barrier is going to come down. And now we see Arcane pushing in and trying to make the most of this. Two kills right now, and they have Project X on the ropes.
Yeah, and a couple people alive for Project X, but they're going to die in short order, you'd imagine, just kind of running the distraction game. It's odd that they didn't actually throw themselves on the point to buy themselves some more seconds, knowing that they weren't going to be very useful once it was captured anyway.
Yep, so Cooler's going to take out Cruz in the very end. But the damage has been done. Arcane finally gets through the first point, and they are now moving. So, interesting stuff coming out from both teams here. I mean, that's an okay cap time for point A, but Project X has looked pretty decent on the defending side thus far, Hex.
Yeah, I mean, despite Shadow dying pretty early in a weird way in that first fight, it was really smart. Once he heard the tire, he got the sound barrier off and mostly saved his team with those extra shields, not getting a full wipe. Defensive Transcendence comes in here.
And Transcendence is out for the defending side, and they're going to use that push up. Rel takes out Ruster, and Rel has been doing really good work on McCree thus far. Really just picking his opportunities and going from there. And we've really just sort of seen this very often times where teams that run McCree, the McCree just dictates the pace of the game in a lot of ways. He can hide behind a Reinhardt, he can take defensive positioning, but anytime anyone on the other team is out of position, McCree can pounce.
Yeah, McCree's a survivor. He's lived through patch and meta changes time and time again. Always a staple of compositions. Lucio's kind of along there with him. They've been in every team comp since the beginning of time.
Looking the ult up for the offense here. Nevix takes out DNR Shadow again. A nice long-range spam. And now take a look. So we do have 3 ults up for the offense, including Resurrect and Earthshatter. So they just lost 2 people. We might be seeing a res from Lullaby here.
Yeah,
maybe.
Overall, some of the timings on the ultimates from both sides are a little bit off. We saw High Noon get boosted in there, but he had to cancel it. That's 50% on his ult that's not going to be able to use. That's a well-timed ult, though, as Kaz jumps in. Death Blossoms taking out both supports.
Yeah, Cass was able to get a lot of value on Reaper there. I was expecting to see a res from Lullaby there. Lullaby deciding to save it. There's sort of a back and forth with Mercy where on one hand, saving it for 3 or more people is really good, but the ultimate charges so quickly that we're seeing Mercy's use it more and more often. 2 people go down, a Mercy res comes up, etc. It's a bit of preference, but I feel like things are a little bit more slanted in favor of, more often reses just because of how quickly it charges.
Yeah, so Mercy becomes the priority target, trying to take her out
see
so
the
that they
speed
can't res.
See Speed Boost coming in here. Vass on the offense with that, but he's getting taken out by Cooler. Cooler's Barrage with the Sound Bearer, able to make a lot of space here for the Project X team. Defensive Transcendence is out. We see Cooler X on the flank, has Mercy in his sights, will take out Mercy with the help of Cass. And again, Project X keeping Arcane on the ropes.
It's a very strong hold, and that's twice now that they weren't able to use the resurrection because Mercy died before. She was the first death in both of those fights. So obviously you can't res while you're dead, and that has been the priority on defense here, is to take out that Mercy so that these fights can't continue. However, offense has a lot of tools at their disposal right now with 4 ultimates up and ready to go, but they need to keep that Mercy safe in the back line.
Yeah, and this is what you see very often. I mean, team will get wiped out over and over again, but once you build a big ultimate advantage like this is really the time for Arcane to shine and push through here. And they know it. The speed boost is out, Dragon Blade is out, and they are going in, and they're not even going to near res here, Rex, because they've already killed 3 people. That being said, they might use it anyways just to keep things going. They might want to get that Genji back up. But the cart is rolling now, and Arcane able to use ultimates to their advantage there. In fact, it was only really just Dragon Blade.
Yeah, they've got everything else ready to go. Again, they just really need to prioritize keeping this Mercy alive and safe. Now, something that generally helps with that is running a Pharah so that the Mercy hasn't escaped through the skies. They're not running the Pharah here, but it wouldn't be surprising to see them switch to it on this final point as they try to take high ground. That said, the opposing team is still running a Pharah. She's got Barrage ready, and she is already poised on the high ground.
And taking a look at this, we see Reaper setting up here. He has Death Blossom. He wants to drop in and go it. Speed Boost is out. He's going to Speed Boost in with the Death Blossom. Barrage with the aerial support as well. Everyone goes down, but here comes the Resurrect. A beautiful Resurrect brings up almost everyone from the Arcane side, but they're not out of the woods yet. Everyone on the Project X side is diving, and Cass and Pavel wipe them for a second time. So it was a great Resurrect, but they weren't able to recover in time as Project X just swarmed all over Arcane.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out well for them, but I would have liked to see them stagger their ultimates there. Maybe use one ultimate to first wipe, then use the second one to clear up the resurrection. They didn't have to there, but I think in the future that might be a strategy they look towards.
Yeah. So right now we're seeing Arcane on the prowl again. They have 3 minutes, 18 seconds, so they still have time to finish out the map, but they want to get done, if not in this push, and probably in the next 2. Otherwise, they're going to be running up the clock a little bit more. That being said, Speed Boost is out. They are moving in. Cruz got quick pick on Cass there, so now he has Pharah in the sight, so if he can get Pharah, that would be huge. Dragon Blade's going to come out. He takes out the Pharah. He's taken out both DPS. But McCree still remaining, even after Pharah and Reaper go down.
Yeah,
so,
it was really smart just to head the high ground and at least bully Pharah out of this position even if he doesn't kill her. Both sound bearers come off.
Look at this counter initiation. A Deadeye's out as well. Teams are actually in Vaz getting the better of it. Rel going down, and a little bit of a counter engage going Arcane as they come in. Pharah's going to go down, and Arcane now with the momentum as they move towards the last point.
Yeah, Project X in trouble. They're bleeding players. They do have a defensive Transcendence up, which should be able to stall out this cart if the Zen can get there on time. He does.
As he does, he's going to stall. He is invincible while the Transcendence is out, but he needs his team to get in there real quick. We do see a defensive Earth Shower coming down. Nice stuff from Pavel. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, but he's definitely on that spectrum as both teams are using ultimates on top of the cart. Arcane knows they have a little bit more to go, but this is a great defense coming up from Project X, and there's a Death Blossom.
Yeah, really nice hold so far. Even when they cap it here, that bought them about 30 seconds to a minute, just kind of staggering deaths onto there. And I don't think they had any disillusions that they were going to be able to stop that completely, but anything to slow it down and add more time for their own offense is a smart tactic there.
Yep, so take a look, play the game. Coming out from Cooler. Cooler had some really good barrages here. Pharah's often feast or famine. You either get great barrages or you get killed by McCree's, but Cooler made a game of it, and this was a good defensive hold for the most part, coming up from Project X. A time of 7:53, while that is beatable on the attack side, it's a time that you have to move a little bit to beat. Not like crazy 4-minute times, but there's going to be some degree of time pressure on Arcane as they move or on Project X as we move forward on the next map.
Yeah, the pressure is only going to mount throughout the map. If they have a couple really stagnant pushes on first there, then it's really going to be up to them to maybe change their composition to something more aggressive and wipe that out. It's a medium time. I mean, I guess it is an average time on King's Row, but throwing those bodies there at the end really kind of buffed that up from maybe like 7 minutes and 10 seconds to about 7:53. So a smart decision there where I thought early on they could have actually done the same thing on point one. They had two people alive who just refused to jump on the point. They were going to die anyway, so they could have added even more, hit maybe 8 minutes, but as it stands, 7:53 is the time to beat.
7:53, so we'll see what Project X does here on their attack run. And how Arcane responds. And the interesting thing, though, is anytime we see a good defensive hold by one team, we see the other team come out with an even better defensive hold. Just the way things have been going back and forth, I wouldn't actually be surprised to see Arcane just somehow hold outright on point A. And just, it feels like it's been the flow of things recently.
Yeah.
Where you see good defense followed by even better defense. So
yeah, well,
we'll see what Arcane brings out here.
They do have the tools to hold on defense here, and I missed their introductions in our first round, so we'll go ahead and talk about Nevix being on defense in Symmetra. The core of the Kings Row defense essentially is that Symmetra and getting that teleporter up. Sanchez is going to be playing Lucio Voss on McCree. Lullaby, level 100, is going to be playing Zenyatta. Cruz on Reaper, and Ruster will play Reinhardt.
Yeah, and Cruz switching off quite a bit. Sometimes you see him on McCree, sometimes you see him on Reaper. In fact, we've seen him on Widow from time to time, so bit of versatility coming out there. And of course, looking at the Symmetra, we've just seen Symmetra so often on defense here, where to a point that it's effectively standard for any form of early capture point defense. That being said, looking at the offense as it suits up here, for the Project X team, we got Rel on McCree, DNR Shadow on Lucio, and Archidorf on the Zenyatta, Cass on Roadhog, Pavel on Reinhardt, and Cooler on the Pharah.
Yep. Just, I was actually a little surprised that they weren't running the Symmetra on the defense on the first point. So that may be something that is a change in their next round on Kings Row, because I think a Symmetra would have helped them hold that first point a little longer. Been standard here so far.
Yep, and Cooler's biggest threat coming in here is going to be Vass. He wants to go on his Pharah, he wants to poke, but he's also got to be careful of the McCree, as always. And we see Project X not wasting any time as they try and get in on the defensive Arcane. Cruz takes out Narky, Pavel takes out Ruster, so a little bit back and forth, both teams down a player as we start out here, but Vass and Nevix with a kill each, and now Project X offense a little bit stalled out.
Yeah, the first push absolutely stagnated there with the tank going down early. Kaz gets in and dies just to a Symmetra turret, and that's bad in two regards. One, he's dead, of course awful, but that also charges her ultimate, and that teleporter's going to be up. It rather quickly is also already up. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, the teleporter is already up, and you get that if a Symmetra can get in on someone, left-click them from behind, or even just hit a few orbs. It charges much quicker now, but the downside is, of course, is that there's no such thing as a perma-teleporter anymore. The teleporter will have brief periods of downtime, so a little bit of trade-off. That being said, here comes Project X again. They're coming in, and Nevix actually just got killed in Narkidorf with the globe, so a little bit back and forth here. Both teams down 2 players each. The teleporter is up, though, so Project X doesn't make something happen here soon. Reinforcements will be coming in, and there's Cruz with the 3-person Death Blossom.
Yeah, Rel getting cute, sitting behind the shield with his High Noon. It looked like a good idea, but then Cruz came in with his Hellfire shotguns and just put an end to that immediately, and another push is going to have to be completely reset.
Take a look at this here. We see Cruz setting up again. He's not going to have Death Blossom for a while, but I love the spot for Reaper. It's very, very hidden at times. It does look like Cooler has his number, though. Cooler going to spam him out a bit, not wanting his team to get flanked by Reaper. But that being said, he's not being as aggressive. And take a look at this. He has the Zenyatta's sights, even with Sound Barrier. He will live. That was a nice hook from Cass. And Project X are rushing in. They have the barrage coming in from above. Brodog with the hook, and now Project X making something happen here, Hex.
Yeah, some pretty nice patience there by Sanchez holding that defensive sound barrier, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. The entire team is very spread out right now. All of the offense is up as they continue to clean up this point. Cruz is going to come in and try to make something happen, at least delay this point.
Yeah. And we see Rel there. Rel gonna finish off Cruz, and then we see the reinforcements coming in for the teleporter, but they're just getting hooked and picked apart as they come in. They're not able to group up. They come in one by one, and Project X going to be taking the point. Good stuff coming out from them. That was a nice push, and really, shout out to Cass for some heads-up Roadhog play.
Yeah, it's just a matter of seconds on that teleporter. Yesterday, we saw a very similar tactic where a teleporter was able to save first points on Numbani more than once, and they were able to get in there. But 2 seconds earlier, they were able to get in there and reinforce. As it were, they came in a little too late and actually got mopped up, and now they're in a tough spot on defense, pushed all the way back through these streets.
Yep. So defense is a little bit further back. And we see this often where teams will give up a lot of the streets. I mean, given the great defenses we've seen, I'm not sure you want to hold that far back, but they might not have a choice with just how they got wiped out on point A.
Yeah, not only that, but offense is rolling with a lot of ultimates right now. We could see some great combinations. Sound Barrier, High Noon, and Earth Shatter all work really well together.
Yeah, and the only thing that we have on the defensive end, we have Tactical Visor, but Tactical Visor more of a flanking thing. Here comes the Sound Barrier. They're rushing in. A little bit of nice countercharge from the defensive Reinhardt. Tac Visor goes down. Thus far, no one dying. Offensive Transcendence is out. Cass takes out Ruster. And all these ultimates might be just a little bit too much for Arcane to deal with early on here, Hex.
Yeah, they're on a really good pace right now, too. The cart's going to stop only because there's a barrier on the map. But they, if they keep up this pace, they're going to have no problem beating that time set earlier and taking the first map.
Yeah, and take a look here. Project X with a whopping 4 minutes left here. They are making some great time. And now it's really up to Arcane to hold very strong. Coming in with the defensive transcendence, they're rushing in. They want to get a defensive wipe here, but nice backing up from the Project X team. Cass finally goes down, but there's a lot of overextension here from the Arcane defense.
They are getting kills, though, so I'm not sure it's entirely an overextension. Like you said, it was a good retreat. A lot of teams would have fought there, even though they didn't have ultimates up. Maybe that would have been the right decision, considering their spawns are right over here, but a very aggressive defense. It looks like they were tired of getting pushed back all the way through, took the fight to them, and it worked out really well. Now they're set up pretty well, and ultimates have equalized.
Take a look. They are sticking the Roadhog on the Project X side, and why not? Roadhog is doing a lot of work most of the day. Cooler is trying to step for a barrage, has to be careful. A lot of people looking his way, including the defensive Genji. Defensive Earth Shatter is down. They're rushing in. The Dragon Blade is out from Cruz. Nevix with a pair of 3 kills on the defense, and Cruz looking to see if he can pick anything else out as well.
Yeah, defense in a good spot still. They've got defensive sound barrier up, which is huge when the initiation comes, or as we've seen a lot of teams choose to do, they could just initiate the fight and play aggressively on defense.
Yeah, we do have the offensive sound barrier coming out. Vaz gonna get taken out. A little bit more aggressiveness coming out here. Lucio Speed Boost is out. Deadeye was out. Pair of kills getting picked up from the offense as they're moving up here. That being said, defensively, we do have a defensive sound barrier up. We have defensive tac visor up, so I gotta think we're gonna see a really aggressive defensive push come out here any second now, Hex.
Yeah, you would think with tactical visor.
Here it comes.
Yeah, here it comes.
Double sound barriers out for both teams here. Both teams fighting. We see the barrage coming in. Cooler able to pick off one. Kaz with another pick off, and now the defense getting pushed back. A nice hook on Lucio takes him out. Good stuff from Kaz. And now we see Project X rolling, and Hex, they have 2 minutes and 20 seconds, so if they kept this now, they're going to take map 1 with a lot of time to spare.
Yeah, and not only that, but they have a couple chances to cap this with that much time left, and this is going to be a brawl right now.
Yeah, we're seeing some great stuff going on with Roadhog. Ruster at the defensive Earth Shatter is going to clean this up, but Cass has been on point, getting pickoff after pickoff, and honestly, I think he's the star of the Project X offense thus far.
Yeah, he has looked really good. I did actually like what Cooler did, though, too. It's of two minds that when a defensive sound barrier comes up, you can kind of wait on your offensive ult for it to fade out, or you can use it and just bust those shields down, as we've seen Death Blossoms and Barrages do. And Cooler chose to barrage right into the sound barrier, softened up a lot of those enemies, and actually did a good job of maybe making that fight a lot more close than it had to be.
Right now, both teams a little bit drained on ultimates. Neither team with great ultimate power. That's going to take out Cooler. So that's going to be a lot of aerial power down for the Project X side. And Arkidorf going to go down to Nevix. And I think the offense is going to try and back up here and avoid a full wipe if they can. But look at the Reinhardt flank coming in. Ruster got behind the entirety of the Project X offense. And they're going to get extra kills there. They're going to stagger the deaths a little bit more. And now, a little bit more time pressure for Project X because they're down to only a little over a minute to finish out this map.
Yeah, I really like how Cruz is prioritizing the high ground. He did so on offense as well, but on defense as Genji, he even rolls out through this high ground too, and he caught a Reaper out up there before, and he's making sure that they're not getting dropped on.
Yep, okay, here comes the offense from Project X. They drop the offensive sound barrier. Reinhardt, though, defensive Earth Shatter coming down a little bit back and forth. Rel and Nevix getting a kill each, both McCree's on the hunt. And, not much time left here for the Project X side. They need to win this if they want to take this map.
Cooler
take a look at Nevix.
Barrage. That's the third or fourth barrage he's done from that exact.
But look at Nevix. Nevix is still fighting here, even though Cooler got that barrage. No, he's gonna go down. Cooler with the direct rocket. Now take a look at the time. There's not much time left. There's only 25 seconds. Project X needs to keep rolling if they're going to take this out here. Cooler with a lot of harass coming in over the top. Defense is swung over the cart right now. Arcane has to know they're close. They only have to delay for 15 more seconds. The Divas are coming out.
Yeah, they just have to play the stall game here. D.Va, of course, great at that stall out game. Here comes Kaz, though, wipes up the entire cart.
The cart, they're trying to get the cart moving. Cass needs to take out this Reinhardt, but take a look at the time. There's only 2 seconds left. And just like that, Project X going to go down. It looked like they were going to win with time to spare, but Arcane takes the map in a very, very close game 1 on King's Row.
Yeah, if that is how this set is going to go, I'm excited for the next couple games. I imagine we'll go to game 3. These teams are very, very close to matched.
If we go to game 3, Hanamura's in the pool, Hex. Let's not forget.
We might go to Hanamura next. Project
It's
X,
very possible.
It was Project X who was banning out the payload maps and keeping the control point maps into it. So they're the ones who kind of made Hanamura a thing, and it is their choice for maps next.
Yep, so both teams saying GG, saying push the end. Arcane takes game 1, but not without a bit of drama, as Project X looked great throughout most of that map. They weren't able to finish it off in the end, but they were threatening very, very hard. In fact, they made a better time than Arcane for everything except that last part.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of one of the downsides of pushing second is you don't get the benefit of finishing with the overtime. You actually just have a very set time to beat. We'll see what this Genji can do. And this is when they push them all the way back to spawn.
Yep.
Just cleaning up. Cruz played really well that game. Not only just those individual kills that we saw him play the game, but just really smart rollouts, always making sure that his team wasn't going to get dropped on, wasn't going to get flanked on. He knew that that Project X was trying to take the high ground on him, and he always rolled out even defensively through that high ground as Genji, which is something that I think a lot of teams should take note of to clear those high grounds and know exactly where your enemy is at all times.
Absolutely. So we're going to be moving on the map too. We don't know what it is just yet. It very well could be Hanamura. So today could be starting out not only with a bang, but a little bit of unorthodox action. That being said, X, we have an update here. And today, speaking of starting out with a bang, so as you guys know, we are partnering up with Matcherino to do crowdfunding for our tournament. It's a way of helping support the players a little bit more. And we have a huge donation to start out the day, Hex. That donation, we can bring up for everyone to see here, coming from Noalius. Now, those who are familiar with Heroes of Storm or Blood Bowl or other similar games, Noalius is a big supporter of streams. He does like watching his Overwatch action, and he has donated $100 on his own to the prize pool today.
And no message either, just throwing it out there. Just here's $100. Actually, he used the coupon code too, so that's
$101 because he used coupon code GGNA. If you guys want to get in there and donate $1, is totally up to you. It is free using coupon code GGNA. That comes from Matcherino, not from you. But if you want to throw on more, you absolutely can. So our prize pool today already up to almost $400. So this is just great for the players, Hex.
Yeah, we've got one game into our round of 16, and we're already just almost at $400. That's amazing. Thank you guys. You know, Noalius just doesn't even have anything to say, so thank you very much. So totally drunk donating again, and we have some Bernie Sanders supporters donating as well from 6LP.
Well, sometimes people want people to feel the burn, Hex. Without going too much into political memes, because that will derail chat for ages. So right now, teams asking a little bit on the rules and the map pool and all the rest. So we're going to find out what Project X wants to bring things to after map number 1. And what a map number 1 that was. I mean, I think that might be the closest match I've ever seen in the round of 16.
Yeah, definitely. Usually those are kind of, you know, one-sided affairs before we get to the round of 8. And semis, of course, the match is getting closer and closer. But I really think that Project X wants to take us to Hanamura. Why would they ban out everything, keeping Hanamura, and they're banning out payloads? It seems like that would be their map of choice. Other than that, we're going to Numbani, which is also fine, but I want to see some Hanamura, man.
Yeah, Hanamura would be awesome to see just in general. I mean, a lot of people don't really like the map, but just sort of the variety of seeing capture point map and comp. It's curious to see what teams throw at just in general, just because they're not all that used to it. So you get to see some interesting composition, some interesting looks, and oftentimes some crazy action. I mean, think back to, I think it was Reunited versus Melty, or I'm not sure who Reunited was up against, but there was a crazy match on Hanamura where Reunited looked to have it wrapped up and they fell at the last second to a last second res. And that might be some of the drama that you only get in capture points.
Yeah, we've seen Bastions on cash-in points. We've seen a lot more Torbjorn, although he's made appearances on Hollywood as well. It appears that maybe Project X wasn't exactly clear on the rules for our map drafts. We've posted those rules several times, so maybe they weren't trying to get to Hanamura. We'll see, but luckily we have an admin dealing with that right now.
Indeed. So teams figuring out, but it looks like we will be heading to Numbani.
That makes sense. It looks like, early on in our bracket, just a small update before we get into the pool. Humble Brag took out Code 7. Code 7, a team we've seen play a lot, and just a big respect to them for playing in every tournament. I always like seeing the same teams, and you're not going to get better by not playing. So congrats to Code 7 just for playing, but Humble Brag moves on, and they will await the winner of Melty versus Ventus. No other results to report, though.
So a little bit confusion here, but we are heading to Numbani. I believe sides are staying the same. We're going to see if Project X can bring things back. We saw a great showing from them in map number 1. So we'll see where things go for map number 2.
How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Like we already started out the ridiculous game, and we're just in the round of 16. So I'm just excited to see where things go today.
I know for a round of 16 game, that you might be right. That might be the closest round of 16 game we've seen, and we've seen Project X a couple times before. Like we've mentioned time and time again, they clearly have the talent. They just have to, put in the work and get that cohesion. And a few times there, we saw that there's still a little glitches here and there as far as ultimate timings and some small mistakes that are really taken advantage of in Overwatch. But we'll see what they do on Numbani.
Indeed. So we're just waiting for both teams to ready up here. Someone might have bioed, I don't know what. But Numbani, of course, really we have our King's Row, and now we go to our Numbani. We're playing our 2 staple maps already in early Overwatch competition.
Yeah, so while we have a minute, some people are asking how to, get in on this Matcherino stuff. You can hit !Matcherino in chat. Our admins are there. They'll be spamming it as well. You go to the tournament page, and in that tournament page, there's a button to sign in. It goes right through your Twitch. Very easy to do. Then you hit the donate button, and that doesn't take any money out of your account anywhere at all. You just put in our code GGNA, and that throws $1 in. Now, if you feel like being generous and throwing into the prize pool, which goes directly to these teams, feel free to toss any money on top of that. Of course, that is on top of our already in place prize pool furnished by DX Racer, who make fine gaming chairs, and Rocket, who make nice mice and keyboards, and I believe headsets as well. So thank you to all our sponsors, but that's how you get in on the good Matcherino action.
Indeed. So we are finally getting started here on Numbani. Again, for those of us tuning in, Arcane striking first blood against Project X, going up 1-0, but it did not come easy. A very, very close King's Row game. And they're going to be on the attack again, starting out in Numbani.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I mean, we didn't see Project X run a Symmetra on defense on King's Row, so maybe it's just not a hero they're super comfortable with either, but you generally do want to run a Symmetra on Numbani as well on defense. It actually looks like we might see an offensive Symmetra here.
And offensive Symmetra, we've seen it more and more as time has gone on, and wait a second. No, they're running a Reinhardt, so this isn't quite... It's sort of a hybrid here, where they're going to run the offensive Symmetra for the Genji, but they're not going to pair it up with anything too crazy like a Tracer or otherwise, so it is something that is going to try and maximize Cruz's value on the Genji, however. Yeah,
it is kind of the triple support. It also really helps out the Zenyatta as well, allows him to play a little more aggressive and get in position for those Discord orbs. Also, with Lucio's health pool being nerfed down to 150, throwing him that extra 50 health back is super important too. Yep. If they stay on this Symmetra, we could just be completely wrong. On defense, though, they're running a pretty standard composition here with DNR Shadow on Lucio and Narkadorf on 76, Cooler on McCree. Pavel's going to be playing Reinhardt, Kaz on Reaper again, and Rel will be playing the Zenyatta. So we see 76 and his very comfortable perch of Numbani already.
Look at the offense as it comes out. We got Sanchez on the Zenyatta, Vass on McCree, and Nevix on Symmetra, Ruster on Reinhardt, Cruz on the McCree, and Lullaby finishing up with the Mercy. So this is going to be a very Genji-heavy offense coming out from Arcane.
Yeah, I mean, the composition is built around Cruz doing work on that Genji. He played really well last game, so they're kind of just going to try to capitalize on that. He's already up on the perch while the rest of his team pushes through the stairwell. And they have offensive Symmetra turrets up in this stairwell. It seems like they're going to post up there forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they just want to get this going, and ideally, if the Symmetra can land a few orbs, the Symmetra can get an early teleporter up as well, so really good stuff coming up from that. So taking a look here, we do see Cruz has the 76 in his sights, actually kind of pinned between the 76 and the Symmetra here, or Zenyatta, and I'm not sure he wants that fight. No, he just backs out. Meanwhile, taking a look at the rest of the offense, as they post up here, Nevix gets a pick on Cooler, and Nevix has his teleporter up already, heck, so This is an interesting offense thus far from Arcane.
It's really cool because the walk is pretty long even just to get to this point, so the reinforcements are going to be rock solid on this. Powell goes down too. They lost 2 quick players, but Rel does take out Cruz, who is the center point of this composition.
Yeah, no Rel means that they're... no Genji, rather, so... Really, Genji being down, it's going to be hard, and down goes Vast. Vast, the other big part of their offense. We see a Narkidorf, but the attack visor takes out 2.
Yeah, but they're going to be right back in, though, with this teleporter still up.
Yeah, the teleport helps it. Uh-oh, the jig might be up. Here comes Reaper. Reaper getting in on Reinhardt. Reinhardt having to run for his life. He might get the charge off, but no, he's going to go down, and the teleporter will go down as well, so...
Well, teleporter's still up.
Interesting. They were looking at 2 different teleporters. Take a look at this. We see Pavel coming over there, is able to take out Nevix, and a little bit back and forth. Take a look at Cruz. Cruz coming back over, has Dragon Blade at the ready, trying to take out 76 without it, but finding himself a little bit in danger. A soldier in the health station, living for quite a while. This is a big back and forth. He finally pulls out the Dragon Blade, takes out 76, looking to get more. Dies to Reaper, though, however, so again, a bit back and forth, but thus far the Project X defense has been holding pretty strong, Hex.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting kills when they're getting pushed in. Now, as cool and creative as this offense is, and those sentry turrets are still up in the room, it just doesn't have the finishing blow, the killing power to really make this offense strive. But now they do have all of their ultimates up for the most part.
I'm going to point out there that Nevix got 2 kills as offensive Symmetra there as people rounded the corner into 6 turrets. That is not something you see every day.
Yeah, I'm going to double check and make sure this teleporter did go back up, or my screen's glitching again. Telly is back up offensively.
Teleporter, offensive teleporters up. We see the offensive Transcends come down as well. Vast and Cruz with a kill each. And now Arcane looking a bit threatening on this offense.
Yeah, they've got all the ultimates up that they want to use. Even that Mercy Resurrection up. They can sacrifice players and play really aggressively here and hope that the Mercy can bring them back to life. But they are not going to need it as they're picking up kill after kill.
I gotta say, I've loved seeing this offensive Symmetra come out from Cruz. It's been, or Nevix rather. It's been really interesting thus far.
I think she's very, you know, underrated as far as the damage she can put out too, and especially where they wanted to push through on those stairs. You know, just get behind the orb, and the defensive team can't really do much about it.
Yeah, no, and look at this. Cruz is going far up again. We see this oftentimes as Genji, where they have the orb, they have support. They will go very far up and just make life miserable for the defending team as they try and set up. And Cruz is loaded for bear here. He also has a Dragon Blade, so he has a lot of options available to him with the full support of his team.
Yeah, he's got shields, he's got the Mercy on him, damage boosting him, he's got the orb. It's kind of a really cool thing they're doing with Cruz, but they get earth shattered from behind. A really cool flank from Pavel.
Yeah, we got both teams striking some blood there. Vaso still alive for the offense, looking to do this, but he's a little bit outgunned here. The offense stuck in the side corner, and they're, more importantly, they're not getting any payload push right now.
Yeah, Nevix with a couple kills, though, again. I think the team is just kind of confused as what to do with this offensive Symmetra. We're going to see if they eventually switch off of it, as it seems like the momentum that she gave them is not really kind of holding through right now.
We do have the tech visor coming up from a Narkidorf. Narkidorf getting pushed back a little bit, is going to get taken up by Vaz. 2 kills for the defense, 1 kill for the offense. A little bit of back and forth coming out here, but is looking like another decent defensive hold. And look at the, wait a second, hold the phone. We have a big offensive res coming out from Lobai. Lobai's going to go down for it, though. And again, we sort of see this thing where you get a big res, but your team is in such a position that they get wiped out again.
Yeah, the res sometimes brings you up just to die again. Another defensive support ultimate used in that Transcendence to push back, though. It seems to be the theme of these teams that they're not saving their support. They're not waiting for the fights to come to them. They are defensively using their ultimates, something like that.
And take a look at Cass here. Cass has Death Blossom up. He's setting up the entirety of the Arcane team as he comes back, but he's gonna get stunned out of the Death Blossom. It doesn't matter, though. It did enough damage. That's a quick 3 kills. And some nice stuff coming up from Cass on the Project X side.
Yeah, really good coordination from his team. He gets in there with Death Blossom, and everyone is there to follow it up. They come in, and I think they even sound barrier there too. So really taking the fight to the offense again. It seems like defenses are no longer content to sit back and wait and respond in the fights. They would rather initiate.
Yeah, and this has been a really aggressive, good defense coming up from Project X, and really the Genji powered offense of Arcane has been a little bit stalled out this far.
Yeah, I mean, even that first push took a little longer than I thought it would. It was a cool idea, cute idea. It worked. I don't know if it was super effective, and it's definitely not giving them the momentum they need to push through these streets.
You see Cruz busting out Throwing Blade and is going to get a pair of kills. Can he get the third? He has McCree in his sights. He goes back here. Will you get the Reaper? And he does get the Reaper in the end. So a little bit back and forth, but Cruz able to break the mold just a bit as he goes forward.
Yeah, they did finally switch off that offensive Symmetra, adding a Reaper into their composition as well, which Reaper fits pretty much everywhere. Kohler in backline takes out Vaz, a little McCree on McCree violence.
Yeah, we see this. It's honestly one of the bigger matchups in the game. McCree versus McCree. Both oftentimes many comp teams proud of their McCree play, but just the slightest difference can mean a big difference in outcomes between two teams. So, Ruster, with the offensive Earthshatter, does take out Pavel, takes out Narkidorf as well. A little bit back and forth between both teams as Cooler right now throwing down right clicks as McCree, but has to back up a bit as the offense is finally getting a bit of momentum now for the Arcane side.
McCree, Cooler on McCree is above and behind. He's looking for the flank. Nevermind, gets taken out by Nevix. They're doing a great job of clearing these doorways, but he had High Noon up and was ready to get a huge flank off. Good cleanup there by Nevix, taking the flank as a Reaper.
Yep. So, Lullaby now has the offensive Transcendence. They have offensive Transcendence and Deadeye at their disposal. There's defensive Transcendence and Deadeye, so Ultimate's pretty similar on both sides. We do see the Deadeye coming out from Vass. Vass trying to get it forward, but somewhat mitigated by the Reinhardt shield. Will take out DNR Shadow, if nothing else. And here comes the defensive push coming from Project X, and they are going to wipe out majority of the Arcane side.
Yeah, they're going to chase. They want this Zenyatta to finish off these kills, and they get him. Nice. Yeah, Pavel's playing a really good Reinhardt today. We've seen a lot of good Reinhardts in the last couple days, too, but those Earthshatters have been really good. He's playing kind of an interesting style, not particularly there, but he's going for flanks and kind of the surprise Earthshatter more often than not.
Yeah. Taking a look at Ruster here. Ruster does have Earthshatter back up. Nevix has his Death Blossom, so we might see a speed up Death Blossom any second here. Nevix tried to get in the back for the Death Blossom. He's going to get taken out. Ruster comes in, gets knocked down. He's going to get taken out. So really just both teams suffering heavy losses here, but the important thing is that the payload is not moving.
Yeah, what a strange place for that fight to take place. I've never seen a fight go down over there, but they do finally start putting people on the cart here. Defense is going to have to mount up quickly.
Yeah, we do see the defensive 76 out coming out. Tech Visor is out, gonna push people back a little bit. In comes Pavel. Pavel with the offensive charge, but look at the turn. Nevix with the Death Blossom, gonna take out two. And Arcane was ready for it, and they are really poised on this push.
Yeah, 4 kills immediately there. Maybe a little too aggressive by Pavel. You know, the moment I praise someone for their play, they make a play like that, and it actually really cost his team. Losing your tank that early is brutal. The deaths that followed really paved the way for that cart to push to last.
Yep. So, Arcane setting not the fastest of times here. Project X can definitely beat this time, but we saw again that Arcane was able to put together a pretty good defense on the last map, so this could be another nail-biter Hex going to the second round of Nambani.
Yeah, and this is those plays from Powell, kind of a weird angle to take on the charges and the Earthshadow, but it was working out for him most of the games until the end there. It was a really interesting style. I almost never see the offensive Symmetra, not in that composition anyway. Posting up there I thought was cool to get the teleporter up. It didn't have quite the impact that, I don't know, at least I thought it would anyway. So a beatable time though of 8:51 on Numbani set.
Yep, so it's going to be up now to Project X to beat this time and force a map 3, but of course, Hex, if we go to map 3, that map 3 is going to be Hanamura. And actually, it seems like the teams are a little bit confused over the map drafting, so I don't know what we would do in a case where both teams say, hey, look, we want to mutually agree on a different map. I don't know, but in all likelihood, we are going to Hanamura if it's a map 3.
Yeah, what I do in cases like that is not even feign ignorance, just present my ignorance to the teams and give it to the admins.
Yep. So I'm taking a look at things.
I kind of hope we go to Hanamura, though. I was hoping to go to Hanamura second. I thought it was just like a really cool strategy. I've always wanted a team to just get really good at some of the control point maps and force teams to play them on it.
But it's too early for Hanamura. It's not the grand finals. Yeah, Hanamura has a tradition where it only shows up in the grand finals.
Yeah, and pretty much only when Reunited is playing as well.
Yep. So taking a look at the defense coming out from Arcane. Looks like they're going to be running Nevix on the Symmetra again, Vass on McCree, Ruster on Reinhardt, Sanchez on Lucio, Cruz on the Genji, and Lullaby on the Zenyatta. So again, with the Symmetra, the Nevic's very comfortable on it.
Yeah, Navik's definitely playing the Symmetra. It makes a lot more sense here, a little more typical here, you might say. Anyway, the defensive Symmetra on Numbani is something that we've seen from nearly every top team. She's pretty much in the meta standard now on defense at the very least, and with the compositions that we saw yesterday that we've yet to see today on the offense too. So Symmetra really having a breakout weekend.
Yeah. Symmetra, I mean, I think it's a combination of the fact that people are sort of realizing, okay, she is really powerful for a variety of reasons, but then you look at the changes that happened to Lucio and Genji, and it just puts her over the top, and you're just seeing her way more in a whole variety of different compositions.
Yeah, and people underestimate her and try to one-on-one her in situations. So we've seen some of those light classes die to her pretty easily. We've, you know, Symmetras can take out a Genji, can take out a Tracer. Just the nature of her weapon works really well against those classes. Offensively, it looks like they're going to try to run a double tank composition, and they're going to put Cooler on Pharah as well. So they're going to be running a Reinhardt and a Winston, and then some damage from the Pharah.
Taking a look at things here. Vaz is one to watch here. Vaz has been doing a good deal of work. Vaz and Rel both on the McCree play. That being said, we see the offense of Project X setting up. And again, we're seeing teams really favor going up this left side approach. It's very, very common. And they go over, they try and take the high ground, and they push from there. And this is exactly what we're going to be seeing from Project X.
Yeah, this might be the least used street in all of Overwatch. No one comes right up the gut anymore.
Both Reinhardts charging into each other. But Pavel is going to go down in short order, and with no Reinhardt, this push is going to have a bit of trouble getting started here, Hex.
Yeah, losing your tank immediately, definitely not the way you want to start a push. However, Nevix was taken down, and that's going to slow down getting a defensive teleporter up. Unfortunately, the offense is not in a great position to take advantage of this timing window.
Yeah, not at all. So they're going to have to regroup a little bit. Good defense coming out there. I was a little bit surprised by Rel not shooting the other Reinhardt there. He was focused on the Symmetra turrets, and while the Symmetra turrets need to die, I think he had a chance of killing Pavel killing Ruster there. But that being said, both Reinhardts are charging into each other. The defensive sound barrier is down though, so this is again a very good setup for the defense.
Yeah, offensively though, they do burn Tranquility. They are kind of spread out now though, as McCree got to the back lines. Lullaby gets a kill, Vaz gets a kill.
Yeah, Vasa was able to live in the back lines, and he has just been fanning the hammer over and over again, getting 2 to 3 kills there. Gonna finish off the Lucio here in short order. So Vas able to sort of sneak away, get good positioning, and just unleash upon the Project X offense.
Yeah, but you were talking about the Reinhardt trying to deal with the Symmetra turrets. It's such a strange thing to have to deal with. The balance is really hard. We've seen teams struggle with this over the last few weeks of if you ignore them completely, they will tear you apart. But then if you're swinging at them, you're getting shot, and you have no defenses up too. So the Symmetra turrets, they don't have to do a lot of damage. They're just their mere presence is a problem for the offensive team.
Yep, we do see now they switch up to Winston. Winston going in, Primal Rage is out, and he is coming, trying to knock people off the edge. You see that a lot, you try and go for the knockoff. He wasn't able to get it, and now 3 people down for the offense. Not quite what they wanted to start things out here. Cruz out with the Dragon Blade, gonna help mop things up, and again, we see a good hold coming out from Arcane.
Yeah, Cruz, really cool play there. He got barraged on, was able to reflect a good majority of it back at the Pharah, and then finish her off with the Shurikens. Not something you entirely expect when you're running a barrage. You sometimes expect to die if you're doing it in an aggressive position like that, but not like that.
I'm going to note here, Ruster is really well set up for the next defense here. If they come through that same area, he can just drop an Earth Shatter and do all sorts of havoc. But if they come through the streets, he can drop down Earth Shatter as well. So either way, we do see the offensive sound barrier coming out. A Deadeye is out. Cooler going to take out Vaz very quickly. Lullaby goes down, so that's 2 quick deaths for the defense. This might just be what Project X needs. Ruster staying a little bit further back. Earth Shatter not used just yet. And Ruster going to go down without getting the Earth Shatter, so a pretty nice offensive push to saying, hey, you know, we don't even have to go through that side. We can just go through the main street.
Yeah, they're going to try to stall this out, though. I always love that angle of approach. Usually you see it as kind of the 3rd or 4th effort from an offense. When they've tried to go up the stairs, they've tried to go to the left. Eventually, they just take a completely different angle. But the defense is still putting bodies on the point here.
Yeah, but look at the offense. They're picking them off as they come back in. And we've seen this now twice today where a team comes in off a Symmetra portal, but then does not really get full value as people sort of stream in one by one.
Yeah, we're going to see, yeah, immediately Nevik switches off the Symmetra, choosing not to stay on that as the value is kind of lost for her on defense here. It goes to 76 instead.
Yeah, 76 is going to come out here. That being said, time-wise, Project X still with 5 minutes. So they have time, but they need to move through this next point quickly. They don't want to get caught out for any extended length of time because it's possible for teams to sort of get stuck here for minutes on end, and they can't afford that just yet, especially facing elimination. That being said, offense able to get 2 quick kills there, so good stuff coming out from Project X. Really liked what I've seen from Rel today, man.
Yeah, Arcane forced to hold very far back. They're in a decent spot on their defensive ultimates, though. They do have 3 up and ready, including that Earth Shatter. But they've got absolutely bullied through these streets. A much different phase of the game than we saw in the first half of the map.
Yeah, I mean, I think what just happened, Arcane wasn't able to get up. That being said, defensive Sound Barrier is out. We see Arcane pushing in with the Dragon Blade, but no, Cruz is going to get taken up by Rel. Rel was ready. 2 people down for both sides, but that was not the Sound Barrier initiation I think Arcane really wanted there.
No, I think both these Reinhardts have to be frustrated that neither of them is able to get a charge off without slamming face first into the other. They've both knocked into each other about 3 times in this half alone.
But look at that. It came down to the McCrees in the end again, where Rel started off great getting picks, but when it was looking pretty good for the offense, Vass was able to pick up a pair of kills his own and stop that push. They did get to the checkpoint. They bought themselves some extra time. But
did they?
I think they did. I thought I heard this. It's moving back, but I thought I heard the sound. I don't know.
Huh.
In any case, taking a look at here, we do have Cass coming in. Transcendence is at the right. He's going to pop the offensive Transcendence any moment. Has to be careful of the Deadeye. Deadeye doesn't really care too much about Transcendence. Ruster is going to go down. Does they come in? And no, they didn't.
Yeah, now the cart gets to the point, because I don't... Yeah, never mind.
So they have 4 minutes, 22 seconds left on the map, but the important thing that's left is they have 3 minutes, 15 seconds left on the overall time.
Plenty of time. Defense is in a pretty solid position, though. They haven't been wasting ults, which is a smart move. They've got 4 up on defense, but they were getting bullied back.
Yeah, oh, look at that. The Tactical Visor leading the way as Nevix picks up a pair of kills, does more damage, and the defense going to have another successful hold.
Yeah, Pavel gets cleaned up there, too. So not only did they get wiped up, but they kind of staggered deaths. They're going to have to wait for Pavel to come back up before they can even think about pushing. So that's another 10 seconds they have to wait.
Yep. So, taking a look at the time here that is left now for Project X, they have 2 minutes, 40 seconds left on the clock. That gives them about roughly 3 to 4 pushes. Plenty of time. They do have a pretty decent ult situation here. They do have to go against Sound Barrier and Transcendence. They have a Transcendence of their own. And they're going to rush in. Transcendence will pop at any moment. There it is. And a great Earth Shot comes down, knocks down 3 people. And Project X making things happen. 3 quick kills. Defensive Sound Barrier is out, but it's not going to be enough. Lucio is going to go down. And this is going to be almost a full wipe in favor of Project X.
Yeah, an excellent Earth Shatter and Barrage combination there that's just absolutely cleaned up the other team. Lullaby does take out the Reinhardt in the end, so they're going to be minus their tank for this final push, and he's going to be slow to reinforce. If defense can hold here, they might be able to hold it for the rest of the map.
Cooler goes in, tried to take on the McCree, does take him out, but suffers for it. McCree got 2 kills before going down, and we see Cruz with the Dragon Blade gets 2 kills, also goes down, so... Ult's going down for both sides, but in the end, it's going to be a net favorable trade for the defense, and they're going to hold for just a bit longer. They need to hold for a minute 40, Hex.
Yeah, that kill Lullaby got on the opposing Reinhardt towards the end actually really helped that defense because they're not able to hide the McCree behind that Reinhardt shield. He becomes much less effective, and essentially they weren't able to secure kills because of that.
Yeah, so taking a look here, we see that Nevix has Attack Visor up. Ult-wise, we do have Deadeye and Earthshower up for the offense, so no big support ults up just yet. We do see a Sound Barrier coming down for the defense.
They just did lose Cruz and Vaz. Most of their damage is now down. The window was wide open for the offense here, and they have the ultimate advantage.
Taking a look at this here, we do see the offensive Earthshower coming down, knocking down one person. I'm not sure it's quite as effective as I wanted. Cruz able to make the most of it. Both teams going back and forth. And oh, the deflect on the high noon from Cruz. That was great. Cruz able to take out Rel. And Cruz really being the backbone with a triple, if not a quad kill on this defensive hold. And that is a lot of valuable time bought. And now Project X only has 1 big push left here, Hex.
Yeah, I don't want to pile on, but Pavel again extremely out of position as his Reinhardt goes down very early, trying to move those cute plays on the flank, and he ends up dying extremely early. And losing your tank that early, and losing a Reinhardt especially, that shield down your team is so vulnerable afterwards.
Vaz able to take out Pavel. That's a big defensive pick. Takes out DNR Shadow as well. Pavel is making a lot of things happen here on the defense. Genji in the flanking position. Deadeye going to come down. Will Vaz get? Vaz picks off Rel. That's a triple kill for Vaz. And that is going to seal the game for Arcane. Arcane going to move on to the round of 8. Hanamura will not be played. But what a close set between both these teams, X.
Yeah, a great set between these two teams. Project X still kind of waiting to break out. Just a little bit of timing issues there at the end. Some over-aggression, I thought, on some aspects. But I've always thought that Arcane is very close to being a team that can compete with anyone. And they started out really strong today.
Yeah, no, they looked great to start things out today. And big shouts to Vaz towards the end. I mean, I know I was talking about Rel getting great plays, but Vaz putting the team on his back a bit towards the end, picking up 3 kills and just stopping the final Project X push in its tracks.
You are a big fan of the McCrees. That is without a doubt.
It's just one of those things where it seems like if a McCree doesn't die early in a fight, the McCree lives to do terrible, terrible things to the other team. And just because it's his consistent damage output and the fact that a good McCree isn't really missing a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's going to make, the consistency of that reflect, though.
That was a great reflect coming out from Cruz.
It wasn't his first. His reflex this game were insane. He reflected a barrage, took down a Pharah, reflected a high noon. I mean, he's always has a reflect up when he needs it. He's not wasting it in individual fights. And he's actually picking his individual fights really well too. When he's going up to check flanks, he's picking fights one-on-one with a Pharah, which is fine, but he's saving those reflex for the ultimates, and they've been game-changing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to move on to the round of A. I believe it's going to be Arcane versus Mixup. And I think Mixup definitely the favorite team going in there, but Arcane showing us that they have some moves and they might be able to surprise us. We'll see.
Yeah, Arcane, a team that we've kept an eye on. I keep mentioning them week after week because they play in everything, so we get to see them. And I think they're only like a step away, but Mixup's going to be a really good test for them. And we will be moving towards the North American server, so Arcane's going to have to deal with that as well.
So we're going to take a short break as we set up for the round of 8. But before we do, Hex, we have another enormous donation for the prize pool today.
All right. Surprise me.
So bring this up for the grand fanfare here. But we see Nomanus coming in with a $124 donation saying it's the little thing. So our initial prize pool today was $360. And now we've gone all the way up to 600 and the day is just beginning. You can still get in on the action by going to matchround.com, donate $1 for free using code GGNA, and Hex, all the more at stake for the players here today.
Yeah, some great things from the top donors. Our top donors are Noalius and Nomanus. I just wonder if there's a trend going on there. And of course, thank you to those guys throwing in hundreds of dollars. We're already at $600 for the prize pool today. You don't have to be rich and generous like Noalius and Nomanus to contribute. Go there, throw in the code GGNA, and that puts $1 into the prize pool for us. Great appreciated. And I'm digging everything's donation message. It says Genji is my favorite Naruto.
Yep. So that being said, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with the round of 8. It's going to be Arcane versus Mixup. You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned.